Today we're going to be talking about how to create a dashboard. This is a lovely dashboard. You can see that I've got countries, well these are continents, and in each continent we've got the change in GDP over time, change in population size, the relationship between life expectancy and GDP, and then we've got a couple of extra things here, and you can go through the different continents, and we've got these cards over here. So it's just a quick summary of what's going on. This is taken, by the way, from the Gapminder dataset. When I create videos, I only ever use data that you have access to. So if you install the Gapminder package, you have access to this data. Okay, right. Now, there's a couple of things to point out here. I've orientated this into columns, right? So we've got 3 columns, but you could also orientate this into rows. And as soon as you've decided, is it rows or columns, within a row or column, you can have additional either rows or columns. Like, so we've got columns now, and within a column, we can have multiple rows. And then within any one of these cards, you can have tabs for additional information, right? There's a lot more you can do, but I'm going to try and keep this simple just so that you can get the basics of this right. You can also click on one of these and then zoom in on it. Okay, so it's kind of a nice little way to present data, and it's easy to do. So let's have a look at RStudio and figure out how to do this. So here we are in RStudio, and to create a dashboard, under format, you want to define it as a dashboard. And then orientation, I've said columns, you could say rows, and that matters in terms of how you kind of orientate the various cards that you create, and we'll have a look at that in just a second. I've said numbered sections false. There are other YAML parameters that you can stick in, but today we're just going to keep things simple so you can create a basic dashboard. Importantly, notice that I'm working in source and not visual, because a lot of what we want to define we need to define in the source. In other words, the sort of markdown notation. Now, to keep things simple, I've created all of the plots in one big chunk over here, and I've given each of the plots a name. So we are going to be able to just reference those names and all those objects in the code that we create hereafter. Now I'm going to go back and forth a little between RStudio and the actual dashboard so that you can see what it is that I do and what it is that it translates into. So the first line that I've got here is a hashtag Africa. So first level is really talking about these tabs right at the top, or actually in each case it's a new page. The next level that we're looking at is our first column, right? And we said that we want our dashboard to be orientated into columns. So we define our first column, double hashtag column. And in this case, I'm stating the width, okay? Because when I create these little cards here, which are in our first column, I want this to be just 25% of the rest of the dashboard.